Hi everyone, welcome to Root Access. I'm Ritchey, Jamie DeGrazio, former Mac genius, always a Mac genius, you know the story. Okay, we like to talk about what goes on at the Apple Store, behind the Genius Bar, and then the secrets behind the Genius Bar. And
are we allowed to do that?
No one's stopped us yet.
Okay.
Although we have viewers at the highest levels at Apple, so it may be forthcoming. Here's my question. We have the iPhone 3G is out there. Has been announced. As we record this, not quite released yet. Once it's released, take us through, from a Genius Bar perspective, what happens when there's a brand new product. For example, are there replacement parts or replacement units ready from day one? How does it all work?
Well, it depends. Like sometimes when the new product is released, as we all know, it's available that day. You can go into the store and you can get it. But in the case of the iPhone, there's a few weeks of lead time. So chances are there will be replacement products available. Or if not, I mean, to be honest with you, it really doesn't matter because the first 14 days you could return if it was defective anyhow. So if you bought a phone or a brand new iPod and it was defective out of the box, you're just going to get a return. You're going to get it swapped for a brand new box product. So replacement parts aren't as critical in terms of swapping an iPod.
And if it's something that's serviceable, like say a Mac Mini, are you trained in that before it launches?
Typically, the take apart information and any sort of inside information on the new products is going to hit the Apple geniuses the day the product's released, or the day it's announced, I should say. So, and for the most part, in terms of servicing a new laptop, all you need to know really is to take apart, and then it's just following the steps. So, there's no special hands-on training or
unless you
anything
need
that.
A putty knife in the case of the Mac Mini.
Yeah, in the case of the Mac Mini, they sent us a putty knife prior to the Mac Mini's release, or I remember the G5 towers. You needed a special wrench, long wrench, and they sent us those the day the product was announced.
You don't know what's this for, and then,
exactly.
and then you find out hours later. People who have problems with the products and bring them to the Genius Bar during that time, what's different with what you do with that product when it's new, say, versus 6 months, 8 months out?
Well, typically, defective products out of the box, like I said, they're just going to get swapped for a brand new replacement, provided you have the receipt, and provided it wasn't something that was custom configured, like you bought a Mac Pro and you custom configured it. That's something that would have to be serviced.
Okay.
But if it's a stocked SKU, then we would basically verify there's a real issue, because a lot of times with new products, people aren't familiar with them. People aren't familiar how the iPod or iPhone works, and so quite often it's just a matter of teaching them how to use the device, or just how making sure their system's upgraded so it's compatible. So we just want to verify that there's actually a defect in the product.
Now, when you're doing that, let's say someone buys an iPhone 3G, they've had it 7 days, they feel it's defective, they come into the store with the phone. Are they going to have to wait for that troubleshooting process, or because they're within the 14 days, can they just get a new phone and go, and then you guys kind of do that behind the scenes?
Well, when I was there, it was prior to the previous iPhone release. So things are a little bit different. I mean, for the most part, if you came in, you had bought a new MacBook Pro, you would still have to make an appointment at the Genius Bar. You would still have to, wait your turn, and we would go through all the steps the same as we would if the product was 8 months old. But then once it was determined it was defective, if we could just do a whole return and give you a brand new product, we would. I know with the iPhone last year, it looks like they were sort of catering to those customers.
Very generous in the returns.
So people had some issues, and maybe some of those products weren't defective. They were swapped out for a new unit. I'm not sure if that's how it's going to be handled again this year. But it seems like with a product like the iPhone, there's so much fanfare around the announcements that Apple's a little more generous.
I think it can be a shock, though, for people who are used to maybe, say, a Target return policy, where you go in with the receipt, you have your item, you give it to them, you get your money, your credit, and you leave.
Yeah.
Whereas Apple, you get bogged down there, and you're kind of, we have to see what's going on, and sometimes people get frustrated with that process.
Yeah, I mean, I've never returned like a big ticket item to like a Target or a Walmart, but I wonder how that's handled if it's opened. I know at Apple, there's a lot of scrutiny with the product. You want to make sure everything's in the box, and they'll sometimes actually plug it in and test it. I mean, that's usually the case.
Right.
I mean, I'm guessing that's not what occurs at Target
or
Walmart. I think Best Buy may do those sort of things, but it's a different experience at the Apple Store, so that can be frustrating for new customers, certainly.
And when a new product comes out, do you have any kind of heads up for things to be looking out for? Like, there's, you're going to see maybe some miscolored backs or anything like that?
Well, I think when any new electronic device is released, I think the manufacturers are aware of some issues that may happen, some problems that may occur in some models. So we would typically have a just sort of I think it was a hot list or something it was called, where we would know some known issues. For example, like you might come across MacBook Pros where the video is not working right out of the box, and then quite often those computers or devices were set to be captured by Apple, so they could the engineers could study them and sort of get a hold of what actually the problem is and sort of prevent more units from going out with that problem.
Okay. It would be interesting to know the inner workings of like the quality assurance to say, well, how often can we see this video out issue and still ship the product now versus wait and try to.
Yeah, I mean, I think all manufacturers handle that. They ship the product knowing there's going to be some issues, and then knowing that they can get ahead of it, or hopefully get ahead of it, and correct it in the manufacturing process.
All right, there you go. Everything you wanted to know. So those of you waiting in line, getting ready to wait in line for 3G iPhone.
It's going to be a long line this time.
If you have to get in the other line to return it for some reason, now you know a little bit more of what's happening with the process in front and behind of the Genius Bar. Don't forget, send us your questions, root@thedigitallifestyle.tv, and we'll be back again soon. Bye-bye.